welcome to Sarah's Stamping Retreat. Today we're going to be creating some really lovely butterfly cards with all sorts of different techniques using a lot of this month's clubs from Spellbinders. So the butterflies that we're going to be using are from this press plate set. So you've got the press plates and the coordinating dies, and that's from this month's BETTERPRESS of the month. Now if you don't have a BETTERPRESS, you can still make these cards as long as you've got some butterfly stamps or ephemera or something like that in your collection. We're going to be using these for both BETTERPRESSing and foiling. So if you don't have a BETTERPRESS, you could use stamps and stamp them in black, because we'll be using BETTERPRESS with black ink. If you don't have a foil machine, you can heat emboss your butterflies in gold and get a very similar look. So don't worry if you don't have all the equipment, there's workarounds for it all. But I think this is probably my favourite set from this month, so I really wanted to show it off. And I actually don't have very many butterflies in my collection at all, so I'm really excited to get these ones. So in this set you obviously get the butterflies with the coordinating dies, and you also get the sentiments which say thanks, you are the best, hope your day takes flight, and a little note to cheer up your day. So for my first card, I've got a 5-inch square white card blank, and I'm going to use this 4-inch square piece of purple cardstock. And I'm going to use this Stamp of the Month set, so you get the smile, hugs, and then loads of kind of heartfelt sentiments. So you get thank you for your generosity, hope your day takes flight with joy, may your birthday be filled with great moments, just a little note to lift your spirits, sending you a little flutter of happiness, hope this gift makes your day soar, and may your year ahead be filled with grace and new adventures. And if you get the stamp and die of the month, then you get the dies to cut out all of those as well. So I'll just put those on as an example so you can see how they cut. But you get them for all of the sentiments. So I'm going to use this thank you for your generosity, because I'm getting a little low on thank you cards at the moment. So I'm going to heat emboss that in white at the bottom of this panel. Then I'm going to use the smaller butterfly die to cut an aperture into there. And then I'm going to use the embossing folder of the month for January, which gives this kind of geometric pattern. And I'm going to pop this through like this. So now you can see we've got that lovely texture on there. So then I'm going to grab my BETTERPRESS. And I'm just going to add my card front onto this. So just to note that because I'm using ordinary cardstock, I won't really get a letterpress look, but I'm just going to get a printed look. So that will go like that. So then I want to use this as a template. So I want to line this up like this, so that it's evenly spaced between this A7 line, because this comes on the A7 line here. And then I can use that to position my press plate. And in fact I need to turn it over because it will go the other way. So then I'm going to grab my black BETTERPRESS ink. Lots of different inks work on these press plates, so if you don't have the BETTERPRESS ink then try what you have, but actually to be fair the black comes with the BETTERPRESS system anyway, so if you've got the BETTERPRESS system then I would imagine you've got the black. So then I'm just going to run this through my die cutting machine. So then we've got our butterfly on the front of our card, and because we use this as a template we know it's going to be lined up really nicely. So all I'm just going to do is colour that with some of my alcohol markers. Then all I'm going to do to finish that off is just add some foam pads behind there. Then there's our first card finished. So then for my second card I'm going to do some hot foiling. So the first thing I'm going to hot foil is this gorgeous plate that is the glimmer of the month for this month. So you get the plate which covers a whole card front, and then you get a few sentiments as well. So you've got for you, you've got smile, you've got thanks, you've got congrats, and you've got hello. So with that, you do get this lovely aura, which is a kind of gold holographic hot foil. I'm just going to stick with plain gold for today. So I'm going to put that right over this cardstock. Cut it a bit too long, so I'm just going to trim that off the end. I'm just folding that tape over just to keep everything in place. You can see that my machine's heated up because that light is green. So I'm going to put this with the plate side down onto here, and then I'm going to press the timer so I know when it's ready. So now it's heated up, and I'm just going to put a piece of quite thin cardstock in as a shim with my plates, just because I'm not too worried about it over foiling, and I want to make sure that because it's quite a big plate, it has a nice even foil. So that's gone through my die cutting machine, so let's see what we've got. Just be careful because it's obviously hot. The hot foil machine, by the way, does come with a magnet so that you can pick it up, not with your fingers. So then let's reveal that. You can see how beautiful that foiling is. So then I'm going to add on all of these sentiments. I might not use them all, but I like to do them all at once so that I've got some spare. And then I'm also going to hot foil my butterfly, and you'll notice that I'm layering it up in exactly the same way as I do my hot foil plates. I'm going to pop this on here, and then I'm going to pop on the timer. So then I'm going to pop that through my die cutting machine. Then I've got my sentiments, my gorgeous butterfly. Now then, if you are really loving this month's kits and you're thinking you might want a few, then you might want to consider the deluxe caboodle. So I'll tell you a bit more about that in a minute, but the reason I mention it now is because this stencil set is the free gift you get with the deluxe caboodle. So I'm going to use this stencil set with my Distress Oxide inks to colour my butterfly. So obviously if you've not got the deluxe caboodle and you don't have this stencil set, then just go ahead and colour it like we did in the first one. But if you do, then this is a really quick and simple way to colour this butterfly. So it's a 3-layer set. So I've done layer 1 in Villainous Potion, and I do layer 2 in Seedless Preserve, and layer 3 in Abandoned Coral. And then while I do that, I'll tell you a bit more about it. So the deluxe caboodle is a really fantastic way of getting your clubs. So the deluxe caboodle is every single club. That's 10 different clubs, and you get all of those for £120 or $120 if you're buying from the US store. Now, to put that in context, that is cheaper than buying the most expensive 5 clubs individually. So essentially you are getting 5 clubs free, and you're also getting this free gift as well. So it's definitely something worth thinking about if you are going to get more than a couple of these. And obviously it is a club. Once you join up, you'll get it every month unless you cancel, but also you can cancel whenever you want to. So if you just want 1 month, then just buy the 1 month, cancel it before the money comes out from the next time, and then that 1 month's all you'll get. So you can see that was so quick and simple to colour. But like I say, it's easy enough to colour with your markers if you're not getting the caboodle as well. So then I'm going to cut that out with the coordinating die. And you may have noticed as well that on these you also get the stencils for the bigger butterfly too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chop a piece off of here. So I've cut about 2 inches off the top of that. So I'm going to glue that to the bottom half of the card. Then I'm going to pop a little strip of gold cardstock across here. And I'm going to pop some foam pads behind my butterfly and behind my sentiment. I'm just going to add that under here. And there's our finished card. And if you don't have the foiling machine, you could always use kind of like a foiled pattern paper or something down here. I do love using my foiling machine. I think it gives such a pretty effect. So then for this next card, I'm going to use an embossing technique that those of you that follow my channel will know I love to do. I use it all the time. So this is the heat embossed letterpress technique, and I'm just adding some embossing ink refill. So this is the Wow Mixed Media embossing brush. You could also use Versamark refill if you want to, and just add it across the top of the block, and then I'm just going to ink up a brayer. So you could do this on a large acrylic block, on a craft mat, whatever kind of wipeable surface you've got. And you can see that's nice and shiny now. And then I'm going to add that to my embossing folder. So this is the 3D embossing folder of the month from Spellbinders. And I'm going to ink up the front, which is this bit that says Spellbinders on it. So I'm just running that across there. Then I'm going to add in my purple cardstock, and this is 1/4 inch smaller than my card blank. I'm just going to emboss it as usual. So then I'm going to pour over my gold embossing powder. So then you can see how beautiful that is. So I'm going to add that to this slightly paler purple card blank. Actually, I might cut it down a little further and just have a gold edge around that as well. Then I've got these 2 butterflies. I'm just going to ink them up in the same way we did the last ones. So then I can die cut these out. So then I'm going to use that congrats that I did when I did all those sentiments. I'm going to add that down here. I'm going to pop that up on some foam strips. So I'm going to add that just there. Then I'm going to add on the butterflies. I'm going to have them coming slightly off the card. So then I can trim those off the back. So this piece now measures 3 3/4 by 5 inches, and then I've cut the piece of gold cardstock 1/8 of an inch bigger than that, just so that it has a really small gold border around the outside, and then I can just add that onto my card front. And then there's that finished card. So then for my next card, you can see that I'm using this foil plate again, and I'm going to use the stitching day of the month as well. So you might have seen that on Tuesday I created this card, and that uses most of the elements. So you've got the frame here, the ladybird, thank you so much. You also get a gift for you and some flowers. So I'll pop the picture for the stitching day of the month here so that you can kind of see more what you get, but really we're going to focus on the frame today. So for this one I used all 3 parts of the frame so that you get the frame with the cut on the outside and the aperture. With this one I've only used these 2 pieces, so I've not used this piece to get the aperture, so you just kind of get this flat layer. And you'll see that on this one I did the stitching as it was intended, so I followed the score lines and kind of created this pattern around the outside. For this one I want it to reflect the curves on here, so I'm doing it slightly differently. So you can see that I've done 2 layers already, and all I'm doing is a running stitch for each layer. So I'm literally just going up and down through the holes. And then as it meets up, so we've got the whole oval done now, then I'm going to go back round and I'm going to fill in those gaps. So I'm doing running stitch but filling in the gaps. And then you can see we're forming this solid line. And I really like the fact that this then really kind of follows this effect and goes really nicely on my card. Then there's that finished. Then I've also hot foiled and coloured a butterfly. You'll notice I've just added some purple alcohol mark around the outside so that you don't get that white outline on there. And then I'm going to use this stamp set again. I'm going to use the birthday sentiment this time. I'm just going to heat emboss it onto this purple cardstock with gold embossing powder. And then I'm just going to die cut there. Then we've got our sentiment. So let's put everything together. So I've done a card blank in the same purple as this. So I'm going to glue those together. So then I'm going to add this on. I'm just going to hold that down with a big acrylic block while I add some foam pads to the back of these. Then I can add these onto here. So there's that one done. So then for my final card for today, I am going to use the Stencil of the Month Club. And it's a layering stencil set, so there's 5 stencils and it creates a really lovely floral border. So I'm going to grab my Distress Oxide inks again. So these are all labelled, so this is stencil number 1 and stencil number 1 I'm going to do in the Seedless Preserves. So I'm doing similar colours to I've been using on the butterflies so that it all kind of coordinates with each other. And by the way, if you are considering the deluxe caboodle and you want to know more information about it, then I'll pop a link to my sneak peek video in the video description, and on that you can see all of the clubs so that you can see what you're getting. So this one is number 2. And I'm going to do that in the Villainous Potion. So this is number 3. And I'm going to do this in the Abandoned Coral. So then for this 4th layer, I'm going to use Mustard Seed. And there's little corners etched into the stencil so you know where to line it up with the corners of your card front. So that's really handy. And the nice thing about the Distress Oxide inks is that they do layer, so they sit on top of the other inks. And then the final layer is this number 5. So I'm going to use Evergreen Bough for this one. I think those leaves just really bring it together, and now we've got this beautiful vibrant border. So then I'm going to use that birthday sentiment again, but with black ink this time. And in fact, I'll use the BETTERPRESS ink. It's fine to use on your normal stamps as well. So then that didn't turn out quite as nicely as I wanted it to. I think probably because my ink pad's getting a bit dry. So I'm trying a new ink pad on a spare bit of white cardstock. And then I'll cut that out with the coordinating die. And this butterfly I just did with the BETTERPRESS, and then I inked it with these same inks. And I think I'll add these 2 with foam pads. And this is always my go-to fix when something doesn't go quite right. Just stick something else over the top. You can often save something like that. And then there's that card finished. So now we've got all 5 of today's cards. I'd love to know which is your favourite. Please do let me know in the comments below. So I really hope that you've enjoyed today's video and exploring some different techniques with me. If you've enjoyed the video, I'd really appreciate you clicking like below, and you can also press subscribe if you'd like to see future videos. If you press the bell button and select all, then YouTube will also notify you when I've got a new video available. All of the products that I've used for today's cards are listed in the description below, and there's also a link there to my blog where you can find a picture supply list if that helps you find what you're looking for. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope to see you again soon.